Hey, what's going on, guys? Jason here, and this is part 3 of the React MovieDB API series. So in this video, I'll be going over how to make requests to the MovieDB API using our API key, and we'll also be setting up our form to handle some requests to the API and get some data back. So we'll be doing that today. So let's get into it. So far we have right now just the two components. We have the nav component right here, and we have a form component. And so let's get into the code. Okay, so first thing we want to do in our app.js is I'm going to set up our constructor. So we'll do constructor and then super, and then we're going to set our state. So we'll do this dot state equal to, and our state will contain an array of movie objects. So I'll just call this movies. And then I'm also going to create a search term property, which will be the search query that we're searching in our search box. So now what we will do is, let's see. So let's go to our, search area component. And what I want to do here is I'm going to modify it a little bit. So let's see. So on our form tag here, I'm going to add a property, and we'll call this, and this will be called on submit. And so when we submit the form, or when we press enter on the search area, we're going to run a function, and our function will be called, let's see, so this will be coming from our props. So it'll be props dot handle submit. Oops, okay. So this function is actually going to be created in our app.js. So we're going to create a function here, and we're going to pass this function as a prop to our search area component. So that's why we're accessing it like this. So then up here, we'll need access to props. Okay, cool. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add another property. This time it will be on our input tag here. So let's see. So we'll do on change and on change, and then we'll do props dot handle change. All right. That looks good. Cool. Let's see here. So the next thing I will do, let's see. So next thing I'll do is I'll actually, let's see. So I'm actually going to set up our API key. So what we want to do is in the constructor, I'll set a property called, let's see, this dot API key, and then this, and we'll set this equal to whatever the API key is that we got from the MovieDB website. And if you'd like to see how we did that, you can watch the previous, or the first video of this series, I believe, is where I show you how to get your API credentials. And so I'm going to set this equal to process.env, and this will be called React. I'll call this React App API. All right, cool. And so if we go into our, let's see. Okay, so we actually don't have this. Okay, so then whenever you have API keys, API credentials, what you want to do is you want to create a, you want some type of .env file where you will have all your credentials and all your constants, and that will not be so that'll be private, so you won't be pushing that to any GitHub repos or anything. And so what I'll do is let's see. So in here, I'll just create a .env file. All right. So in our env file, we will, let's see, add our React App API constant there. And then I will set this to whatever my API key was. And I'm not going to show you what that API key is, but just so you know, you'll be putting your API key in here, so it'll be whatever the API key was. So yeah, so go ahead and add your API key here. And also, I don't believe you need to set it as a string. What I did is I just pretty much just added whatever the API key was, just without any strings or anything, just like that, just so you know. So we'll do that. Now that we have the API key constant set up there, what we'll do next is we'll create our handle submit method whenever we submit our search area or our search form. So in here, I'll create a function. I'll call it handle submit. We'll make this an arrow function. All right. And so what we are going to do is we're going to fetch. So we're going to make a request to the MovieDB API. All right. So let's see here. Make this. You will use some backticks here because we're going to use some string interpolation. Let's see. So what is the... All right. So this is the URL we'll be requesting. So, all right, cool. We'll remove that. Okay. All right. So this is the endpoint we'll be using to search for the movies. And so an API key here, what we will do is we will, let's see, do a $. That way we can pass in a JavaScript variable. So in here, what we'll pass is this.API key. And in here, let's see. So in here, we will, let's see, for query, we are going to pass another variable. And this one will be, I believe, so it'll be search term. So this dot search term. Oh, no, this dot state dot search term. There we go. All right, so that looks good. And so the fetch method is a promise-based method. So we're going to have access to this dot then method. And so what we'll do here is we will take, let's see, so we're going to get the data, and then we're going to return the data.json. So we'll format that into JSON, and that will also return a promise. So then once we get that, we will then take our data that we get from there in the JSON format. And let's see. All right. Okay, so once we get the, so when we go out to the MovieDB API and we get all the data that we want for the particular movie that we search for, what we want to do is when we get that data back, we want to set the state in our application. And so to do that, you will do this dot set state, and then parentheses and some curly braces, and then we're going to set the state of the movies array that we have right here. So we'll do movies, and then this is going to be an array. And then I'm going to make use of the spread operator, and then we're going to take the data that we get back and data.results. So let's see, whoops, data.results. All right. And so what this spread operator is doing is basically, so we're basically spreading out all the contents that we get, all the contents from this results array into our array here. And that's pretty much all it's doing. All right. So that looks good. Okay. I'm also going to console.log this just so you guys can see what the data looks like. All right, cool. Okay, so we created our handle submit method, and now I will set that as a prop on the search area component. So we'll do, let's see, we will call it, we'll just call it handle submit. Set that equal to this dot handle submit. So you can name this property whatever you want right here. So we don't have to name it handle submit, but we'll just keep it simple. And then in here is where we will pass in the value you want to pass in as a prop. And in our case, it's going to be the handle submit function. So we got that done there. And that looks good. All right. So next thing we'll do is we'll create the handle change method, which will handle the change whenever we type into our search area component into the form. So whenever we type into our form here, so whatever we type in here, we want to make sure we update the state with whatever value is in that input. So we have handle change. And let's see, so handle change will basically just take in there handles. Actually, let me make sure I do this here real quick. So handle submit will take a event, which is whenever we submit it, and we'll do a prevent default. All right, cool. So we'll just prevent it from, we'll just add the prevent default there whenever we submit the form. So in handle change, let's see, we're going to again pass in whatever the event is. And in our case, or in this case, it'll just be the event of when we type a key. So handle change, and we're gonna set the state again. So we'll do this dot set state. And this dot set state will be, let's see, so it'll be search term. And we'll do e dot target dot value. Okay, that looks good. Okay, yeah. So yeah, so e dot target dot value will be the whatever the keystroke or the key value is of whatever we're typing. All right, so that looks good. And now I will again add another prop there to our search area component, and we'll pass in this dot handle change. All right, save that. That looks good. Let's go back to our search area. Everything looks good here. Why is this here? I don't think that should be there. Okay. Okay, let's go back. Oh, I have to start my server. Let's do that real quick. Do a yarn start. All right, let's open up our console just to see if what the data would look like. So if we'll search for Spider-Man, enter, as you can see, we are getting some data back. So what are we console.logging again? We're logging out the data we get from the API. Right, so as you can see, this is what we get from the API. So we have an object here with these properties, and remember we're making use of the results property, and the results property is an array. So this is going to be an array of movie objects essentially. And as you can see, let's look at the first one. We get some properties here for this particular movie. It's called Spider-Man, has an overview, popularity count, title, and some other things. So that's working correctly. And so we got the form properly working, and we're also setting the state in our React app to handle the movies and the search term. So I think that's a good stopping point for now. So in the next video, I think we'll start going into the pagination functionality. So if you guys enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more content like this, go ahead and subscribe. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good